Ahoy, everyone! It's Jeff, aka Godless Scummer. This is just a bit of an impromptu hangout, to be honest, because I was just telling to Jen, I got pinged on the NHS track and trace, which means I've got to stay at home for a few days during my annual leave, so I can't go out anywhere at the moment, and
that's really annoying when you're on
bored. I knew this was a possibility, though. I got to admit, when I went away last week, I thought I went away to a lot of places. There's a good chance I'm going to get pinged, and I'll have to stay at home for a few days. So we've got Chris and Lissy's in the chat as well. Hi, guys.
Hey, Lissy.
So yeah, anyone wants to jump in, just let me know, DM me or something, or just let us know. Should hopefully be possibly a couple of others joining us in a bit. So I think Jade said she may jump in a bit. Hopefully, cool. Hopefully Sam at some point. Yeah. So
there's a nerdy in chat.
There's got a nerdy in chat as well.
There's nerdy. Hey, nerdy.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and get this topic out of the way now, because I've done a lot of ranting about this. As people know, I've done a lot of streams around the football over the last month. England had a very good run all the way to the final.
You have the worst co-host for this one.
Yeah, but I'm not. But England, as predictable, went out on penalty shootouts. Now, enough about the sort of, should we say, the football element of this itself. Obviously, the shocking and outrageous thing that has happened in the country has been the disgusting levels of racist abuse that was thrown at the players that missed the penalties. There were three of the black players that all missed the penalties. And I thought, to be honest, because I went on Black Sofa's channel the other day, and I thought I'd got a lot of this out of my system. But then I still see people tweeting utter fucking garbage and saying utter garbage. And we've had now one of the England footballers, guy named Tyrone Mings, made a response to the British Home Secretary Priti Patel, who, for those who don't know, I've talked about her a bit on this channel already, but Too Long Didn't Read version is she had sort of said like that she didn't support England players taking the knee. It was okay. It was okay to boo the England players if they took the knee. And then she tweets how disgusted she is by the racist abuse. And Tyrone Mings tweeted this at her, says, "You don't get to stoke the fire at the beginning of the tournament by labelling our anti-racism message as gesture politics and then pretend to be disgusted when the very thing we're campaigning against happens," which I think is a very favourable comment. Now, he's responded to by a journalist from the Daily Telegraph, an economist as well, called Andrew Lillico, who went on an absolute tirade about, that's the sort of thing that he shouldn't be saying these sort of things. He should be banned. He should not be allowed to play for the England football team if he says these sorts of things. His club should be talking with him, but basically shut up and play football. Oh, and then a few hours later, he tweets out about how the left always engages in cancel culture with no sense of fucking irony whatsoever.
But they don't. There is no sense of irony for those people who say stuff like that. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's just no thing. It's not. If you start going down that avenue of as do as I say, not as I do, instantly everyone's going to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah. And it's a lot of it just you've had because and then as if that isn't bad enough, we have a Tory MP called Michael Fabricant who kind of looks like a wannabe Boris Johnson the way his hair looks.
That's not a good thing.
And he has asked for a probe after the racist abuse given to Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, and Jadon Sancho, and he suggested that the racist abuse is not homegrown, but in question whether other fans by overseas or foreign states may be attempting to destabilise our society. Michael, I got news for you. This is homegrown shit. There's no way of getting around this. This is homegrown racist shit that there is no way of getting around. And I think this has been a bit of a wake-up call to a lot of people that around football. I think that we thought it had been getting a lot better over the years, but racism around football has reared its ugly fucking head once again in this country. And if anything, this is a wake-up call. But I will say this. I said this on Black Sofa's channel the other day, that as far as the England team themselves, as much as times as I've moaned about how the sort of amount of fresh Premier League footballers have played, paid and so on, but I think they really represented our nation very well in that tournament. Not just the fact that they played well and got to the final, but just the way between them and the manager, Gareth Southgate, the way they have been an example, really, of, sending a message out against hate, whether that be them taking the knee before the match or wearing the pride armbands in solidarity. I think they have been an absolutely stand-up example. Marcus Rashford, of course, did a lot of campaigning around getting, trying to get children free school meals and so on. And you have politicians telling him to concentrate on football, not on politics. And I'll just be like, if you politicians had been doing your fucking job in the first place, people like Marcus Rashford wouldn't have to campaign for this.
How long has it been since England last made the finals?
Of any major tournament, 1966.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't get people getting shitty about where they got to or anything like that. They should be fucking proud of the team.
Yeah,
they've done an amazing job. To come from that to that is just outstanding effort all around.
Yeah,
and to then try and blame it in racist terms on a certain players is just it's the lowest of the low, really.
And I do want to make
it's a reflection. It's a reflection of a lot of that hate that actually exists in your country, unfortunately, Jeff. Because
unfortunately, yes. I will have to say this though. Hashtag not all England fans. We are dealing with a minority who, unfortunately, though, are very loud. And
isn't that the same with all those racist and sexist and LGBT phobic things that you get out of England? It's not the minority. It's not the majority of England. If you do polls, most people aren't like that in England. No. It's that small, very fucking loud minority that make it look bad for everybody else. But I think that's the same in almost every country. It's always the small minority that makes it look bad for everyone else.
Yeah.
The vocal minority.
And the thing is as well, and I always keep pointing this out about the England football players as well, that unlike sort of, say, the NFL protests, the England football players were not taking the knee during the national anthem. They all took the knee just before kickoff every game. So it wasn't even like they can't even make the argument that they were disrespecting the national anthem or anything like that. So to me, to be booing it and for an MPs to suggest that it's okay to act like that towards those protests, you've got no argument. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Anyway, I think I felt
it's a good little rant, though, Jeff.
I felt I needed to get some of that off my chest because I thought I'd gotten this out of my system on Black Sofa's channel the other night, but then like the last sort of couple of days, you see more and more bullshit, and it's just like,
Yeah,
it's getting.
I keep looking at your country and go, yeah. In America, things were going to get worse and worse and worse if Trump stayed where he was. If the Tories stay in power much longer, you're going to have major problems in the UK.
And the sad thing is, I think they're going to be in power for a long time because
Labour's not up to it over there. They are.
I cannot see the Labour Party. I mean, the fact that this Conservative government has handed them gift after gift after gift that they cannot,
and they still can't win,
and they cannot exploit this shit. It's just
they don't have anybody dynamic enough as leader. They've got the smarts there, I think, in the politics, but no one dynamic.
They got a like they've almost got like a Tory wannabe in Keir Starmer. He's just
but you don't want a Tory wannabe.
He's a drip. The guy's a drip. He's an absolute. He just comes off as a complete drip.
Yeah, and I mean that's been the Labour's problem in the UK is that they're. I would have to say on the federal stage, Labour in Australia has the same problem. There isn't anybody there. Chris is going to love me saying this. There isn't anybody there who really stands out to be. You need to be more vocal. You need to be more dynamic in opposition, so that so people notice that you're there. Otherwise, your party stays in obscurity, and that's the problem.
This is what I mean. I mean, especially since like COVID. I mean, the amount of fuck ups that our government has made and is continuing to make. We're coming out with we're pretty much coming out of restrictions altogether on Monday, despite the fact that infections are on the rise again. And nowhere near 80% of the population have been vaccinated. It's
it's not good.
And I'm not hearing the opposition to this or any tough questions being asked. Even it's so
and
anyway.
I mean you guys were the ones who started the Delta strain, so and you need that peak thing. I mean, at least for us here, yes, our federal government fucked up its inoculation things with what it bought and everything else, but for us in Australia, it hasn't mattered as much because we've had other good controls so that it hasn't spread as badly. So even though we've had pockets and had to shut down certain areas and things like that, in general, the country has actually remained pretty good on the whole. We've got that to back us up, at least. You guys didn't have that because you fucked up on both levels now, which is bad. Hi, Jade. Sorry, I didn't just shut up for a second.
I'm gonna say we're somewhat glad that America exists because it just makes us look not quite so bad. That's about the only good thing I can say.
Although at the moment, that's not the case because
it's not.
America's doing well at the moment, and Biden's done well with getting. Okay, maybe not as fast as people would have liked, but they're getting inoculated. Americans are actually getting inoculated, and rates for infection are coming down over there. So,
seeing as we were the first country in the world to approve any of the vaccines, you'd think we'd be way, way, way ahead of everyone by now. We should be.
We also have a large population that is anti-vax, and
yes, well, you do have that as well. But you'll probably still make 80% vaccination even with them being there because there's enough people who actually have brains.
Yes.
That'll happen. There might be some states which have major problems because of how fundamentalist they are. They might actually have problems. But even then, you can be a religious fundamentalist and still know that you need to get vaccinated. So,
I did read that Alabama is like the lowest state for rate of population actually getting vaccinated. So
where are you again, Jade?
South Dakota.
So you're fine.
So you're fair distance to Alabama.
We have like one of the most active anti-vaccine governors out there.
Really?
Yeah. She's on Fox News all the time talking about how great our state is because we didn't shut down and we didn't put mandates, and which is a lie.
We had lots of people die, and we had lots.
We're in the top for most deaths per capita in the States.
Damn.
And then she's also lying because she did put a mandate for like the first 2 months on people who were over 65. They had to stay home. But she just conveniently leaves that out every time she's on Fox News.
I like the LGBT flag as well.
Oh, thank you. I got it at Pride this couple weekends ago.
Oh, because you took the kids, didn't you?
Yep. So we took them for a little bit, and then we went back, just the adults. It was a great time.
That's always a good plan.
Yes, I liked the suggestions from your stream. So
yeah.
We ended up going that route. And then we were going to go to a drag show that night, which was going to be my first ever. But the bar was too crowded, and I just still don't really feel comfortable in closed spaces with a lot of people. So
I don't feel like comfortable in those anytime. That's one of my big things. I don't like crowds.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can function in them, but one of my problems is I get crowd deaf. So if there's a bit about the background noise ends up overriding what people are saying. So it's almost like my brain doesn't filter out the background noise and the ongoing speech, at least so I can't hear anyone.
If they're lifting all the restrictions at the moment, because I don't mind going out to bars the way they are at the moment. If the restrictions are going to be lifted, I'm definitely going to have to rethink whether I want to go out to pubs or not. At the as things stand at the moment.
Yeah.
Because
we haven't been out a whole lot. We still have my daughter is still unvaccinated because she's too young to get vaccinated. So we're still staying home. We did go to a patio bar, me and my husband, for a date night the other night. And I still just was so uncomfortable, even though I'm fully vaccinated, because most of South Dakota is not. We just prefer to stay home right now.
Right.
Which is kind of sensible.
Yeah.
Well, when you're in a hot spot, I'd be staying home too.
Yeah. We have a huge anti-vax population here. They don't trust it because it hasn't been tested long enough.
Despite the fact that they can see from the stats in other states that the infection rates are coming down.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it's hilarious. But people go, nope, nothing to see here.
Oh, I know. And our governor is so blatantly lying. And I don't know how people don't see that more. But
yeah. It is what it is.
The world today.
So true. So true. You muted, Jeff?
Of course I'm muted. Yes, I know. I am about to suggest that we watch a trailer for a film. So that went up on YouTube. This trailer went up on YouTube yesterday.
Okay. For what film?
You'll see.
Oh no!
And it's never more than one generation away from extinction. And those
I have not seen this, by the way.
This trailer. Known freedom and then lost it, have never known it again.
Let's face it, your God, your book, they're in the way. You feel that you're making a last-ditch stand for your faith, and you've chosen this as a hill that you're willing to die on.
Our whole faith started because one man chose a hill he was willing to die on.
Oh, boy.
I would like to call this hearing of the House Subcommittee to order.
Right now, there's an effort underway to mandate universal educational guidelines.
Once we decide what a child needs to know, it becomes imperative that every child know it.
Remember the visit we got from social services the other day?
I'm here to review your homeschooling environment.
Religion has been removed from our schools. They're teaching kids that they don't need God.
If your children do not show up at school a week from Monday, you will be charged with contempt of court, meaning you will be incarcerated.
Shannon said last night she doesn't want her parents going to jail.
This is bigger than just homeschooling. I think we should fight this.
We need to.
Just want to make sure you understand what you're fighting here.
Our district teaches a revisionist version of history.
If God is for us, who can be against us?
Around here, just about everyone else.
The country is just now beginning to realize that unity means winning under our terms.
For 2,000 years, men have been trying to get rid of Christianity. What makes you think that you can accomplish what they couldn't?
They didn't have an 83% approval rate.
Persecution force.
That's part of your plan, isn't it? Keep us all divided so we don't realize that you're really chipping away at our freedoms and liberties.
America is a country so blessed to whom much is given, much will be required.
You see those statues and those monuments out there? They say, you work for us.
You are out of order, Mr. Bell.
The government of the people, by the people.
Oh my God.
The people.
Right, I think we're done. I can't watch any more of that shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
So anyone gonna go watch that then?
No. My family, absolutely. They totally believe that idea that patriotism and Christianity go together, and it's disgusting.
But the movie's trying to say that the government's trying to strip away our religion. Bullshit.
Yep.
The American government couldn't be more Christian centric if it freaking tried.
No, but that's what we were told my whole life. Like, ever since I was a child, we were told that the government was constantly or was always going to try to suppress Christianity and suppress our rights and freedoms. And it was this fight and battle. And that's why my family were doomsday preppers, because they were constantly worried about the government coming in and saying that we couldn't be religious or we couldn't practice our religion anymore. So we had guns and we're building a bunker and storing up food and prepared for that. And these kind of movies just perpetuate that thinking. That's just gonna my family homeschools as well. And they also have that fear of, they homeschool because they don't want to teach evolution. They don't want to teach history. Correct. There's, certain things that they don't want to, sex education. They don't want to teach any of those things. And so they think that there should be absolutely no restrictions on homeschooling and what they are allowed or not allowed to teach. And I think that that's crap. As someone who was homeschooled in a family, I didn't get an education. I just didn't. But the idea of they're going to come in and say you can't teach God in homeschooling either is bullshit.
No, that's not true at all. Yeah, that's absolute bullshit. You can teach God in homeschooling. You can teach God in private schools. It's no different. You have an education curriculum that you have to teach.
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing's stopping you, even if you're at a public school, going off, if you're a kid, going off and praying, or even having a little blooming prayer group or whatever. No one stops you from doing that. It's just the whole thing of that it's not mandated it's which is what they think it should be. I mean, we still have like schools where you have daily prayers and stuff.
Oh yeah. We also believed that our rights were being taken away in school and stuff. So my mom made such a big deal about that I was able to start a club, and I was constantly like in front of my teachers, you can't tell me that I can't talk about God. And then I'd start talking about God. And I was I do not like the way that I was as a kid, but that's the way I thought was you're trying to take away my ability to do this and you can't.
Yeah. No matter how arrogant that is, there's no self-awareness of that. There's no self-awareness. hang on, you're not the ones being persecuted against. You are quite able to teach your kids your religion at home. It's just that the state isn't allowed to do that because the freedom of religion is also freedom from religion, so the state can't be involved. It's just a state thing. The government cannot fund religion.
Yep.
Is what it is. And I'm sure there's a ton of congressmen who would love to change it. They would dearly love to change it, but they're not going to be able to. You can't change the Constitution in America about freaking guns. You're not going to change it about this.
No,
there's just no way.
Exactly. And then the other idea in that of what they're requiring you to teach, this, you know, we have this standard of what we want everyone to learn and what we want to teach everyone. And Christians make it seem like, you know, there's two stories with creation, for example.
Yeah.
They think creation, we think evolution, or whatever the equivalent is to that. I'm still new at this. But so their thinking is they're trying to brainwash kids with evolution when they should be taught both creation and evolution but evolution or creation is not a theory at all or has no factual basis at all. So they can't be taught side by side.
Well, science deals with things we can observe and objectively show to be facts.
Yes.
It does not deal with the supernatural, which is what creationism is. But you can still have religious studies. I'm fine with that. I don't think they should be in government schools, but you can have after-school religious studies for kids if you're a religious family and you want to do that. I honestly think we shouldn't have that because I think that's indoctrinating kids. But that's an entirely different subject here. You know,
I agree with you.
This is why they've got. This is why the creationists have to try and make out that evolution's a kind of religion as well.
Yep.
I mean, Kent Hovind does this every time he speaks. Evolution's a religion.
Well, you would have believed that, Jane, that evolution was a religion. Yeah.
Yep.
Atheists follow the religion of evolution. No. A belief in evolution has absolutely zero things to do with being an atheist.
But it was basically this idea of, you know, Christian scientists were proving the Bible and every other scientist was trying to disprove the Bible. Those were the only options. There can't just be learning to learn or anything like that. They're trying to.
What it is what it actually is Christian scientists are trying badly to prove the Bible, and all the other scientists are actually doing real science.
Yes, exactly.
And they don't care about that because, but even the Christians who are actual real scientists, do exactly the same thing. They separate their religion from doing their science. And there's a lot of scientists who are religious, but they separate the two. Yeah. Because you have to. You can't be objective if you come at it from a religious point of view.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, not every scientist with a religious belief is sort of dishonest, like the fuckwits that Answers in Genesis employs, for example. You know,
well, they know they're lying,
and they know they're lying. These are people with like legitimate PhDs in biology and geology and so on, and they know they're lying through their teeth.
Yeah.
You know, guys like Snelling, Georgia,
because they have to support
they're lying.
They have to support their belief. I mean, if you have to lie to yourself to support your belief, then perhaps your belief isn't solid.
and you know, call me cynical. Answers in Genesis, I think, pays them quite well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure
they get paid well. And don't have to do any real science.
Yeah.
They just have to write little articles for Answers in Genesis. They don't do any real research. When was the last time any of them had a published paper?
No. Well, see, Andrew Snelling wrote a very good paper when he was quite younger. And then, of course, suddenly became like, you know, young Earth creationist and just shit all over it, everything he'd done.
Yeah, and doesn't write any papers.
No.
They don't write papers.
They might occasionally They might occasionally shit on an actual scientific paper as best as they can, but
they write it as an article that they portray as being in a journal because it was published on Answers in Genesis. That's our journal for science. That's not peer review. That's not a scientific journal. That's you just writing your opinion, and science isn't opinion. Science is fact. It deals with facts, not opinions. If a scientist has an opinion, they state it as their opinion. They don't state it as a fact.
Right.
I love this one. When you if you type in Google like Kent Hovind's doctoral thesis on Google.
Hello, my name is Kent Hovind.
Yeah, either the first or second link you'll get to is WikiLeaks.
Yeah,
that's where it's been published, not by Kent. I can assure you. You know, I mean, yeah,
because it's not a doctoral thesis. Nobody starts a doctoral thesis with, "Hi, my name is Kent Hovind."
And he wrote that.
If you were 7.
he wrote that after he had got his doctorate and had been calling himself doctor, because he just bought that from that diploma mill thing.
Yeah.
He bought that from that Christian diploma mill, his doctorate. Then suddenly realised he was supposed to do a doctoral thesis to go with it, and then wrote that crap. And hello, my name is Kent Hovind, which is. And it gets more and more silly the more and more you read of it. It's, you know.
Do you want to read some?
Should we bring it up? Kent Hovind. Okay, Young Earth Creation.
Have you actually read it, Jay?
No, I haven't. I can only imagine how bad it is.
Read out the first page. It is pretty dreadful right from the beginning.
Let's find it. Okay, WikiLeaks summary. Where's the document? Let's have a look. File. Okay. I'm going to try and share this on a screen. Just give me a sec. I didn't think we'd be doing this, but why not? Let's have a little look at Kent Hovind.
I want to do a little rap where I cut out his thing going, "Hello, my name is. Hello, my name is. Hello, my name is."
Okay,
Kent
Patriot
Hovind.
University.
Yeah.
Dissertation for Doctor from Philosophy in Christian Education. Project submitted to Dr. Wayne Knight, submitted by Kent Hovind. Okay, where's this? Oops. Pensacola, Florida. I can think of many. Okay, this dedication page. I can think of many people. Do we really want to read the dedications or not?
No, let's skip to the good stuff.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that he made a dedication to his wife in that aged well. Introduction. Hello, my name is Kent Hovind. I am a creation/science evangelist. I live in Pensacola, Florida. I have been a high school science teacher since 1976. Lie number 1.
No, we need a lie counter. We need a lie counter.
Oh,
ding!
Right.
Yeah. We just wouldn't have enough, because it's like Aaron Ra says, Kent Hovind can tell as many lies in a sentence as there are words in that sentence. But I have been very active in the creation/evolution controversy for quite some time.
What controversy?
Yeah. As an
I'm just borrowing the ding from Team Skeptic.
Jen, you got to get Matt to read this, I think, at some point.
I wish Matt was awake.
Yeah, see the man who's studying for his doctorate right now, saying, "Is this how you?" Some ideas.
Matt, we need a professional opinion. Is this how you write a doctoral thesis?
I know nothing about writing a doctoral thesis, and I know I wouldn't fucking write it like this.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I don't have a doctoral degree. I have a lower level degree in computer science and a advanced certificate in mathematics. That's all I've got. And I've written proper dissertation reports that are better than this.
Matt Grey Man does want us to don't. It's better not read it all. We might end up getting converted here. We might get converted. Okay. As an evangelist, God has given me the opportunity to preach and teach the wonderful story of his marvelous creation over 400 times each year to churches, schools, public and private, parent groups, youth groups, on the radio, and in university debates.
How are you teaching your faith in a debate?
Because all he does is preaches instead of.
Well, that's true. That's all he does is preach.
And look, when was this written in the 1980s? I guarantee you his script has not changed from then as to the one he still uses now when he goes on YouTube channels to do his debates.
No.
I guarantee you he is saying the exact, even down to the corny jokes, he's still doing the same acts that he's been doing for.
Yeah.
Probably. So is Ken.
And his son does them all too. Not as well as he did. But
that's the funny thing. Eric parrots him word for word.
He does. Although Eric does have some new scripts that his dad never used.
Well,
but she mostly got from Psy.
That one. How did that one work out for him as well?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Psy's gone now, isn't he? He's out of. He's gone.
Yeah. He broke the commandments, so he's gone.
It is my burning desire to help Christians get back to simple faith in God's word. Satan's method has always been to instill doubt in God's word.
Wouldn't that be one of the 7 deadly sins, burning desire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Ken, you're going to help.
Yeah. Right. Not a good start, mate. You're only on your first page of your thesis as well here. The first sentence that came from Satan is recorded for us in the Bible is have God said ? He started by questioning God's word in the Garden of Eden. It worked there, so he has used it ever since.
I'd like to point out that it's never, the serpent in the garden is never described as Satan. It is just a serpent. If the serpent was Satan, God cursed the serpent to lose its legs and crawl on its belly for the rest of its life and all of its descendants. And yet, the Satan that appears to Jesus is not a serpent withering on its belly. So that either means Satan is more powerful than God, or the serpent wasn't Satan. Take your pick, Kent.
I love this. Inquisitor Bacon, at this point, can we call Matt Pell just Kent Hoving's ventriloquist dummy?
Well, you look at the way Matt's sitting, and someone's got something up that ass.
If you ever seen the picture of him and Kent together wearing matching Hawaiian shirts. By the way, just while we're on the subject, just a quick reminder. Matt Powell has a giant inflatable banana in his backyard, which he calls Dr. Peel. Okay, I just thought I had to add that. So, little side note. My clip of that. I ended up on Simon Dan's channel, and I didn't even realise it.
That's awesome.
He collected all the Dr. Peel things and did a. But for some reason, he didn't play Dave's, which is a little bit gutted about, because Dave's one was hilarious. But I can say I've been on Simon Dan's channel. Anyway, where were we? In the 20th century, the major attack Satan has launched has been against the first 11 chapters of Genesis. He knows the entire Bible stands or falls on the validity of these chapters. I believe that the Bible is the infallible, inherent, inspired, perfect word of God. I believe that the Bible needs to be read and believed as it stands. Christians are often guilty of neglecting or twisting the Bible to fit their lifestyle or their preconceived ideas.
Well, I get the Kent's right in that last bit, but in the previous bit, inerrant or infallible, the Bible contradicts itself in so many places.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 Noah's Ark stories with 2 different amounts of animals that end up on that boat. 2 different Genesis stories too.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, you've read a few sort of scientific papers, haven't you, Jen? Have you? No,
it doesn't read like a scientific paper at all.
But yeah, I was going to say, it goes in this book. Okay, I'll be covering, in a nutshell, the creation evolution controversy. I will explain why it is so important, the effects of the theory of evolution has had on our society, the creation alternative, and what we should do about the problem. I will try to answer questions that modern science has raised from a scriptural viewpoint. I am, without apology, a Bible-believing Christian. I have been saved for 22 years by the blood of Jesus Christ, God's Son. Oh, do I have to keep reading this shit?
No, let's give it.
So,
I mean, we know we could do a series reading through
paper. We could do a series reading through this shit, couldn't we? Just be honest.
We could actually do that. It would be a fun thing to do. Actually, if we could cue it in at some time and get Matt involved as well.
Yeah,
and to have the 4 of us go through it, that would be. Because I mean, the Kent was one of the things that you would have listened to previously, Jay.
Oh yeah, yep.
Well, no,
quite frequently. Him, Ken Ham, and Ray Comfort were.
At least Ray's not an asshole. That's the only. I mean, I
kind of beg to differ on that one.
Well, he doesn't come across the same as the other. The other 2 come across as arrogant assholes.
Yeah.
Ray doesn't come across that way, even if he can be arrogant and be a bit of an asshole at other times. He doesn't. It's not his whole personality. Ray will actually legitimately talk to people without being a dick about
it. And then deliberately chop it all up in his film.
And try and make the other person look like an idiot. Yes, he does definitely do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he ever actually in his street interviews,
I'll be back in 2 secs, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. In his street interviews, if Ray ever came across one of us who could actually answer his questions properly, we'd go on the cutting room floor, because he doesn't want that. He wants somebody who's going to and not have an answer for him.
Yeah.
So,
and he's super polite when he does like the street evangelism and stuff.
Yeah.
But when, like, if he talks to atheists, I've watched him do a debate with somebody. I can't remember who it was. And he was just so... Well. Who?
He doesn't do it well.
No, he doesn't do it well. He doesn't answer anything. But he's just so condescending with his, I love you. God loves you. You know that God loves you. It's really
that's definitely condescension. But I mean, in that way, I don't mind that as much as I mind Ken Hovind, who's just an ass.
Oh, for sure.
And Ken Ham, whose arrogance is like, well, I definitely know better than you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you so obviously don't, Ken, you really don't.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The worst part about Ken is aside from the fact that he comes from my country, which is embarrassing, is that he is actually well educated. He basically left this country because he did a con and he got caught. And he goes to America and now he's doing an enormous con and people are just lapping it up.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the man, I don't think the man actually believes his own book. Well, he might now, but I don't think he believed it when he started it. I think he's convinced himself of his own bullshit just so that he can sell it better.
Yeah.
And
I think that's kind of all religion. You have to kind of convince yourself of a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, that's real. Whereas I think Hovind actually does believe his own crap, but he is also in it for the money.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, Ray's obviously in it for the money too. I mean, they all are. But I think whilst Ray likes getting the money, I think Ray actually he really believes his stuff. He actually believes it. He really believes it. He's not, there's no underlying kind of, he has a faith.
No, yeah.
He's very misguided, and he's prepared to use people as part of that. But
he definitely believes what he's saying.
Most religions prepared to to use their people to get their money? And I always find that hilarious. God's all powerful. God can do all these things, and yet we have to give money to the church to do the will of God.
And then spend most of that money upgrading their church,
or producing the new video to get in new people, and
all the kids stuff. A lot of our church's money went to reaching out to teenagers because they were young and impressionable, and a lot of times they were at that stage where they were fighting with their parents. So we would constantly try to church, my youth group would go to the mall all the time. And there was 10 of us probably that were constantly going there, and we would find groups of teenagers and talk to them about God and ask them to come to youth group. And
it's a love bomb thing, isn't it? Because if you're a down and out kid and you've got kids, you've got these other people, your peers coming to you, and they're giving, hey, come with us. We're here and we're accepting. We can help you. And you'll find fellowship and friendship, and that's everything a teenager wants to hear.
Yep.
And even if you're, look, I'll just go along for the friendship and fellowships, and then they drag you in, and then it's like, hey, come to church. Why not come to church with us? Hey, come and do this bit of, come down the mall with us. We're going to see if we can get some more people to come and enjoy the fun and and it escalates. And the next thing you know, they're in their 20s and they've got a job and they're pouring money into the church.
Yep.
And so it's a long con. It's a long con.
It definitely is. And another
most
part
of the people
of it,
who do it don't even realize it's a con.
No, I definitely didn't think I was conning people.
I don't think your parents do either, or I don't think your mum does either, or anyone in that. It's been going so long now that people think this is the right thing to do, and all those fears that get attached to that. That's where you get your prejudices coming from and things like that, because we got all these worldly thing, and there's this thing of being afraid for somebody else because you're thinking these people are doing these horrible things, they're going to go to hell. But that comes back from the back of the mind of, I'm going to hell if I did something like that. And it's kind of a dreadful thing because it's a self-flagellation in a sense.
Oh yeah, I not only was constantly judging other people because of what the Bible said and because of I wanted to help save them. But then, I was constantly looking at my behavior because I needed to be an example to my dad, my sister, and then everyone around me. That's a lot of pressure.
So you're constantly judging yourself.
Yep.
I mean, you're not judging you're probably judging yourself more harshly than you're judging those around you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The level of pressure you put on yourself is unbelievable. I mean, I wasn't in your position, but even in the Christian environment I grew up in, there was elements of that. Mm-hmm. There was more freedoms as well because, we had gay ministers in our church and things like that. So all of that side wasn't there. But there was still those elements of there were still guilt elements, and there was still bringing people in because we've got to bring people into God and the faith, and we've got to bring up our numbers in the church because that's good for God. No, it's not. It's good for the pocket of the church. As much as I love my mum, the whole thing of I was there when she was treasurer, and they would count the money, and they'd see how much money was coming in and who'd given what money, because they gave envelopes. They gave money in envelopes that had numbers on them, so they knew who out of the regular members, how much they had given and how much they could expect each week and how they could do it, and how if we got this new person and we got them on the envelope system, we know how much money. And I'm like, at the time as a kid, I'm like, this is a business. That's how you run a business. That's not how a faith or a belief should be.
Our church did that too. And if you didn't give that month, but you normally did, one of the elders would reach out to you and ask why you hadn't tithed yet that month to help keep you accountable.
I mean, tithing wasn't a requirement within the church I was part of. But if somebody didn't give the money that they usually give, there'll be a phone call like, are you all right? Do you need any help? Is there anything wrong?
Yeah.
And it was a guilt as well as a genuine concern. But like, hang on, if you're not really in trouble, why didn't you give us the money?
Yep.
My mum would do this, and she didn't see anything wrong with it. And to be fair, from the perspective of the way the church ran, there wasn't anything wrong with it. But sitting from outside of it and looking in, you can go, wow, that's extortion almost.
Yes.
I was still bored. I was watching a few old episodes of that series American Greed on YouTube, the few that are up there, and how many of them are those Ponzi scheme type things are run through church groups is quite fucking incredible. I mean, we were talking about grifts and cons the other day, weren't we, Jen?
We were
on your channel. It's an absolute gold mine for people who are going to try and run a scam like a Ponzi scheme.
You know what it feels like to me? Have you ever watched I missed out on getting my own back on one the other day because I got phoned by one of them, but I threw a spanner in the works right from the beginning. But you know those the con calls that you get from India. You know, they phone you up and go, "Oh, well, I'm from Microsoft, and we've got this report about it." It feels so much like that, because that's all about guilt and worry and things you couldn't know about, which is exactly what religion is. It's guilt and worry and things you couldn't possibly know about. And of course, if they encounter somebody who does know something, they hang up straight away. My problem was when they said about, they straight away, I'm phoning you about, they go, I'm phoning you about your internet. Hi, ma'am, how are you? I'm phoning you about your internet. And I said, I'm fine, and so is my internet. And it was, I said it very forcefully back to him, and he just hung up straight away. I was like, I've got somebody who knows what I'm doing.
There was one guy phoned me trying to pretend to be my car insurance company. And I was like, well, that's I said that's amazing. So he said, what's the? So I said, so what's the issue with my car then? He says, well, it's this, that, and I says, well, so that's very interesting because I've never owned a fucking car.
That's all right. My cousin, before she went crazy, she got a phone call from one of them.
I've always had motorcycles if I've had vehicles at all.
In that vein, my cousin, before she ended up in the home with Alzheimer's, she got a phone call from one of these mobs, and she's never been technological, so she had a landline phone. She never had the internet, and she never owned a computer. And they phoned up, and he started talking about Microsoft and things, and she goes, "What the fuck's a Microsoft?" She was telling us about it later. She was, "What the fuck's a Microsoft?" Kind of ended the conversation right there, because even the Indian guy realized this was a pointless one.
I remember the other day I was listening, about a week or so ago, I was listening to your stream. I think it was your pre-6-pack stream. Tornado going on that long
long rant,
email, but the emails he had going back and forth, which was clearly someone trying to con him.
I love Tornado, but God, he can rant.
Oh God. I thought my rant at the beginning of the stream was like something, but Tornado, oh boy.
Oh, Tornado can rant for an hour if you let him.
Yeah.
He's an oddball.
I like him though.
Because Tornado's Tornado is a Christian, but he is so anti-fundamentalism. He is. He's he really hates fundamentalists. You should hear him swear about Ken Hovind.
You should hear him talk about flat earthers as well.
And flat earthers, yeah. He's a college.
I can go on some pretty long rants on my own. I try not to do that on air.
Oh, you should. Rants are fun.
Yeah. See, I'm just waiting until you still say you haven't had him turn up yet, but you do know at some point Darth Dawkins is going to spam the hell out of your chat, Jay.
He shows up to all the newbies.
Yeah, I probably haven't put out enough videos yet to interest him, but I'm waiting for
Unless
that.
you're trans, because then he won't talk to trannies apparently.
I heard about that.
In those exact words.
His exact words straight to Arden.
I heard that. That's so terrible.
He's a disgusting human being. What he does though is he sends his little followers off if you're part of the LGBTQ+ community, and they come and shit in your channel basically. But he won't do it. He has minions for that.
Of course. That's so kind of on that note, I went and volunteered at Planned Parenthood yesterday.
Cool.
Our Planned Parenthood only has 2 days where we have a doctor come in, because we share a doctor with 3 states around us, because our Planned Parenthood is the most unfunded or underfunded Planned Parenthood or whatever.
Well, that doesn't surprise me given where you are.
No, me neither. So anyways, I went to go volunteer, and there were, of course, people protesting. And at first, there were like 5 ladies standing out front, and they were holding up their signs and stuff. And they weren't bothering me or any of the people going in at all, except for when you were driving into the clinic. And this pastor was there for 20 minutes, took a picture of all the people protesting, held up a sign himself and took a picture of himself with everybody, then did a live stream of, we're protesting here at Planned Parenthood, recorded some of the people that were coming out of Planned Parenthood, talked about this great opportunity to protest and talk to people and save lives, and then left. Like, he was literally there for 20 minutes, but then got all this credit for hosting this great event and doing all this work for God. And he was literally there for 20 minutes.
I'll tell you what, I would love one day to be able to run into a Westboro Baptist Church protest.
I wouldn't.
I'd love to troll the fuck out. I would love to troll the fuck out of them.
That's all right for you. I might get beaten up.
That's actually one thing about them. I don't think they've, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think they've ever physically attacked anyone. I could be wrong on that. No, I don't
think they do that. They might, they've thrown fruit, I think, in the past.
Yeah. They definitely promote it, though.
Oh, they do. The
way that they talk about homosexuals and how
anyone
you should
LGBT,
kill them,
basically.
And like straight call for killing people.
Thing is, they might have, their message might have caught on a lot more than it has done had they not started doing those things around soldiers' funerals. I mean, let's put it this way. When the Ku Klux Klan is being more progressive on an issue than you are, you know you fucked up.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Inquisitor Baker says, I got banned from Darth's Discord server for asking someone how someone could put the words in the Bible stuff unless it's actually text scribbles evil sex. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't even go. I don't go onto Discord much anyway. Let alone would I really want to go on there to talk to Darth.
I wouldn't want to go and talk to Darth. Darth is a waste.
You talk to him on Six Pack every week. Come on.
I don't. Actually, I have. Well, I have, but that was only because Darth didn't. I mean, if Darth had realised I was trans, that would have been it. He would have been abused. All abusive.
I meant Ed, actually.
I am.
That's what I meant.
I know. Yeah. I'm going to be talking to Darth's mum on Friday, though.
Ah, of course, yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So we get to find out more about the home life of one Darth Dawkins, one Gary.
Yeah, Friday will be fun.
Friday's going to be a lot of fun. We got a full house.
It's girls' night, isn't it?
Yes.
It is girls' night. There's Jade and myself.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Catherine, the ex-pastor from a few weeks back.
She was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
She was awesome.
Yeah. We've got Chesh on again.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be a bit of fun. We've got Claire on. I don't know if you guys know Claire.
Don't think
Claire
so.
Bear.
Oh, I don't think I've ever actually talked to her. I see her a lot on Twitter, and I think she's been in my chat a few times.
A link to your chat.
Yeah. Sorry.
She's a link at the moment. I should send her a link.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've actually talked directly to her, but I always see her on Twitter all the time. But
yeah,
actual conversation. I don't think so, but yeah, I know Claire is. I gotta say, I was because I was in the live, even though I was away last week. I was actually sat in a pub in Bath, watching Six Pack last week. I was expecting the chat to be a lot worse than it was.
It was pretty good, actually.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And even a couple of people who I know do not like Steve McRae and Cheshire Vic were in there, but they were a bit,
pretty clean.
But Philo Blue, I know doesn't like either them, and probably why she turned up. But she was very respectful, wasn't nasty to anyone, and didn't say anything. Didn't start trouble or nothing. And which is like fair enough. And there was someone, and there was only one person who I banned from the chat because they essentially were kind of doxing someone, but I don't know who was behind that account, but it was that was a little bit, that was out of line, and I kicked that person, and I told Chris why I did it.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
The other person who's joining us on Friday is Sam Chaos. So we're going to have non-binary representation on the panel. So that'll be good.
That's
awesome.
NB, isn't it NB Day today? Isn't it officially NB Day today?
It is.
Yeah. Come on, Sam, get in here. We need you.
Yeah. So Sam's on Friday as well, which is good because I think we should have non-binary representation on a girls' night panel. Chris is umming and ahhing about it, but I convinced him.
Yes. Oh, I love Sam. That's exciting.
Oh, Sam is amazing. So we're going to have some fun. Chris is going to get some good bits of video for the background. So if we have any little fights in between us, there might be some pillow fight footage in the background.
Nice.
Chris, because I can't do that. That's sexist and great. It was my idea.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yes, Lucy smacked him. She went, sorry, of course you can do that. It's good fun.
Nope, I like
Chris
that
is watching
idea.
earlier. He's going to be upset with me later because I tell him back room store secrets. So I sent Claire a link. She hasn't replied to me yet.
Okay. Oh, hello. Somebody's joined. Hello.
Boo.
Kitty!
Hey, Kitty!
I just like somebody. Kitty!
Like, I am still not fully awake. I was up really late. And it's one of those mornings where I needed to take breakthrough medicine when I just get out of bed. So it's going to be a fun day. But aside from that, I'm here.
Aww.
Good morning.
No, I had a long day yesterday. Had to go to 3 different shops trying to find this stuff for my son's garden because fucking caterpillars destroyed his cucumbers and started in on his cherry tomatoes. I'm like, hell no. So I had put, bug spray on there one time because I was trying to go as organic as possible because he's going to eat these, So I did bug spray because they were like everywhere. But that is something we get a lot of rain this time of year, so you have to kind of reapply it every time it rains. It's like I don't want to keep doing that. So I was looking for BT. It's basically a flesh-eating bacteria that only affects caterpillars. It doesn't harm like ladybugs or bees or anything like that, which I think is just wow, because fuck caterpillars. At least the ones eating my son's garden. But they didn't have it at Walmart, which I didn't think they would, but I figured I'd check. And then I went to Lowe's, which is kind of like Home Depot. It's your basically like contractor store, and they have a huge garden center because, when you're building things, sometimes you need to put in landscaping as well. They didn't have any. They had a lot of stuff. I spent over an hour there looking for everything. But they did have my second choice, which was a neem oil spray, which is also something used in organic gardening. So it's my second choice. The only problem is it can be harmful to bees, but only if you spray it while the bees are like buzzing around it, like if they land on it when it's wet. So I still didn't want to do it because like I like bees. I mean, not when they sting me, I'm allergic, but they're dying at an alarming rate, and that's terrible. So I don't want to contribute to that. So I got the neem oil. I sprayed the plants yesterday, and that should give me a couple of days to be able to order it on Amazon and get it sent here. And then the cool thing about the BT is my son can help with it too, because it's non-toxic to animals. So I got this little like half-gallon pump spray bottle for spritzing the plants, because you basically mix the BT with water and then spray the plants with it. My son will just absolutely love that part. So yeah, it was a lot of walking, a lot of heavy lifting, of moving shit that I had to buy, like a 20-pound bag of rice. That was fun. But I don't like bringing my son to the store because he's not vaccinated for COVID yet. He's not old enough. So, since Chris was the only one else at home, my son stayed home with Chris, and that meant I was the one that had to go to the store and do all of the buying of all of the things. So it meant extra walking and extra lifting for me.
Oh, not good, kid.
So I'm just kind of like, I'm going to chill today. I don't have too much to do. I wanted to get some sewing done, but my mom and my sister asked if I could work on something for my niece on the Cricut, because she asked for a big girl room for her birthday. So she's away with her dad for the week. So they repainted her room. They're doing all this stuff. So I need to basically do some vinyl decals to put up in her room. So that's what I'll do today. It won't require much more. I'll be at the computer for a bit, and then I'll have to go scooch over to my little work table and like peel out the vinyl and stuff like that. But it'll be much less work than sewing.
I'll just answer Gary's question now. I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. What happened is I got pinged on the National Health Service's track and trace thing, saying that I may have come into contact with basically I've been in the same place as someone who's been tested positive for COVID, and it's, even though I did a test, I've done rapid flow test which said I'm fine. I've just done another test that I'm waiting for the results on. I don't think I've got COVID. I've been vaccinated, but it's still sort of stay inside for a few days kind of thing. That's kind of
better to be safe.
I spent, to be honest, I kind of knew that was a risk going away on holiday last week. I kind of knew there was a good chance because I went to quite a few places. I was went all the way in Bristol one day. I went all the way up to Hereford one day because I went to Sarcastic Barman's pub, and then I met Bar. I went and had a drink with Sarcastic Barman. Yeah, he's cool. And then I had a day in Bath. There's probably some people see the pictures I took of the Roman baths. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was around.
I saw Nerdy's versions of them too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well done, Nerdy.
They were good. I enjoyed them. The Jar Jar one was quite weird, though.
Mm.
No,
we're not doing Jar Jar voices.
We're not doing Jar Jar voices.
No, we're not doing Jar Jar voices.
I was just talking to Will last night about, you know.
You did after I did.
Yeah. Well,
we missed each other.
we were talking about like, you know, toxic fandom a bit, and how, you know, people can get really like almost religious in their fandoms, whereas I'm the kind of person that I'm like, if you enjoy it, go for it. I grew up watching shit B-rated horror movies with my dad, like Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I like Star Trek. I don't like one more than the other. I like them both, you know. By Starian, I guess. But when it comes down to it, the original, like the prequels with like young Anakin and everything like that, I hated Jar Jar Binks. I thought he was obnoxious, but I didn't mind the movies. They were okay, you know. Same thing with the ones since Disney got a hold of the franchise. Like, they're not amazing, but they're not awful either. They're enjoyable. Like, I can find something to enjoy in just about anything.
I can too. I'll be honest. I can enjoy them if I sort of take my brain partly out of my skull and forget that they're meant to be Star Wars. I mean, they're not dreadful, but they're so much less than they could have been. Is the real problem, I think.
Nerdy say it. Where's bad-tempered Badger when we need
Badger
him?
when you need.
But no, so like that was part of the
and I knew
conversation.
somebody would bring up, but Darth Jar Jar. Somebody.
Yeah, we've had this one. Misa Darth Jar Jar.
Like, honestly, though, he was legit, almost single-handedly responsible for the fall of the Republic. So
yeah. Well, I mean, there is a strong conspiracy that was George Lucas's original intent for him, and then he dropped it because everyone hated the character so much.
I mean, I actually think it could have been like one of the biggest twists in blimmin' film history, wasn't it? If all the time Jar Jar was the one pulling the strings.
Yeah, because I think they were almost looking like the intention was Jar Jar was going to be Darth Bane.
Yeah.
So the teacher of Darth Sidious was going to end up being Jar Jar.
Well, it was. I mean, yeah, because obviously I said the old, because we don't know what the Disney's version is now, but in the old sort of canon, Darth Plagueis was the teacher of.
Darth Plagueis. He was going to end up being Darth Plagueis. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I know people say, no, he can't be Darth Plagueis because he doesn't look like what they made Darth Plagueis look like. But that came after.
Yeah. That came after a lot of the prequels. As a lot of this lore did. Like, I mean, you mentioned Darth Bane, who's one of my favourite of the Star Wars.
Sorry, I confused the two. I didn't mean
to. Darth Bane's one of my favourite of the extended universe characters. But I'd say not quite my actual favourite. I mean, my favourite Star Wars character is an Imperial, but it's Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh, Thrawn's awesome.
I think Thrawn is amazing.
There is strong hints that Disney is looking to rewrite their own canon through what they're doing in The Mandalorian and the offshoots. So where Luke Skywalker is now with picking up the Goku. No, it's not Goku. Grogu. Goku's entirely different franchise.
By the way, Mandalorian spoilers right now, just in case.
I think we're well beyond spoiling people to a certain extent. If with what's happened there, it's almost like the events of the Mandalorian has changed the Star Wars timeline so that things may happen differently. So they could revisit and and just say, hey, these other Star Wars movies we made happened in a different timeline. Which there'll be lots of people who'd hate that, and there'll be other people like Badger who'd probably think that was awesome.
I think, honestly, if they're going to retcon that sequel trilogy, I think they got to leave. It needs to be left a bit of time before they do that.
I think they could do that though. Yeah, I mean,
I think they could do it, but I just think they probably.
I agree, but they don't need to revisit that yet anyway, because they've got all this new mythology that they're building up now that happens. That happens in the wake of the end of that directly in the wake, not in 40 years in the future or 20 or whatever many years the other ones are meant to be.
I'd like to see him doing like a version of like a series on like the Old Republic or something like that. I think would be the way to go.
And they could recast Luke. There are some actors who could do it, and they could actually. And Mark Hamill's not against the idea, so they could recast Luke and actually have ongoing stories of those characters, but just as recast them as new actors as well. So there's a lot of story that you could have there within the greater Star Wars universe, and keep years and years away from when the sequels are meant to have happened. And then they, in the future, they could just say, hey, the timeline's changed so much now, we're going to redo them. Or they just ignore them, just pretend they didn't happen. Would probably be the more sensible thing to happen.
It's going to end up like Marvel and DC universes before long, where you've got all these different times they've reset the thing in all these different alternate universes going on.
Exactly, Daddy. We could have a Luke's Adventures. Well, we could have the Winter Soldier. Play Luke.
I'm trying to think. Basically, The Mandalorian takes place a couple years after essentially Darth Vader dies.
Return of the Jedi. Yeah,
it's just that 5 years after Return of the Jedi. At that point, Luke is supposed to be off in the dark regions, and he hasn't got back to start training anybody, but he has now. So they've actually contradicted their own canon there. So they've changed their own timeline. And there's, that's happened before in in Star Wars, well, pre-Disney and post-Disney as well. That happened in
back in 2 secs, guys. I need to move.
In Clone Wars, they changed some stuff. They used time travel and changed stuff, for goodness sake. So,
because I'm just thinking, Grogu's going to be around for a while. It's an incredibly long-lived species.
Yeah, where is Grogu when So they've changed it a bit. So yeah, but I don't think that's a problem. I think Disney could just continue building on what they're doing at the moment. That they could make the recast Luke and do some Adventures of Luke Skywalker as a movie, and just ignore what they did in the other movies. They could just pretend that they didn't happen, or that they're far off in the future from where they're currently telling stories, and people just can make up their own headcanon in that sense.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're going to show, Grogu again, and when you think about it, Mando's in maybe his 20s or so, he doesn't seem that old. So, and Luke and Leia, I don't know, it looks like the new Disney films take place maybe 20 or 30 years after
what's going on now? Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, Mando would still theoretically be alive, and Grogu definitely. Unless somebody kills the baby, because again.
But I don't think that's what they're heading to. I think they're actually heading towards making a whole set of different stories, and I think they will honestly just ignore what they did in the movies, because there was so many people were upset who were long-term fans. You can ignore it, but still have it sitting there. And just continue on with the story as you're developing it. And if anybody ever asks, you can just say, "Oh, the timeline changed." You can hand wave it. it was different or whatever, or we decided to go in a different direction to what we originally did with those movies, or whatever they choose to say. But they can keep making the stuff now that the people who are new to it like, and the original fans like as well, because the majority of people think, even those that think the sequel movies were garbage, actually like The Mandalorian.
I do.
I love The Mandalorian.
I haven't watched all of the movies. I watched Rogue One, and it was okay, but I didn't enjoy it that much. So I haven't watched any of the rest that Disney's done, but I did watch The Mandalorian, and I like that.
Now, see, I saw a Matt Pat from Game Theory, Film Theory, and Food Theory YouTube channels, and he breaks down different things. He had a really interesting theory about Rogue One, and that the scrappy band of characters that you follow in Rogue One somehow ended up like mind controlled and became the Knights of Ren. And I thought that was a really cool idea, and that would have been. It
is, but it's kind of weird too.
I'll have to see if I can dig up the link for that video real quick.
I love some of the conspiracies around Star Wars canon, because Star Wars is like every other sci-fi that's long term. The canon is never going to hold up. Star Trek canon does not hold up if you really go back and watch the episodes. Doctor Who is the worst show in the history for canon. It contradicts itself all the time, and there's never been maybe with the exception of Babylon 5, there's very, very few sci-fi shows that actually stick to their own canon. They just don't. It's Deus Ex Machina and hand waving is the style of science fiction, especially televised science fiction. But movie series have been the same generally in sci-fi. They don't follow their own canon. Battlestar Galactica definitely didn't. So yeah, that's sort of been the way it's been. Hi, Purple. How you doing?
Hi.
We're just
hi. Sorry.
We're just filling in for Jeff at the moment. We're keeping the stream running for the Jeff.
I think he said he had to move locations.
Ah. Okay. Yes, so Purple's right. The shorter the run, the easier it is to maintain canon. So the longer something goes on for them. And I think what happens with sci-fi is because it's sci-fi, because you can have all sorts of weird reasons why history and timelines and stuff like that can change. No one cares. You just write a good story and you hope that it fits in well enough that people don't mind that it doesn't really make sense because, 2 seasons back, that was supposed to be impossible or something like that. Or that person can't possibly be in that location because they're dead.
Yes.
And that happens. Although I've seen authors do this in their own book. Terry Goodkind, who wrote Wizard's First Rule, he got into the third book of this series. He published the third book and he was writing his fourth, and he eventually said to everybody, I've just reread my other books and I realized I've lost track of my own story. He'd actually put characters in places in the story where they could not have possibly been because in a previous book, he'd said at this particular time they were somewhere else. And it was just impossible. The storyline became impossible and he gave up.
Oh, no.
So when that was turned into a TV series called The Seeker, they used the characters and a lot of the plot points from it, but rewrote it into an episodic TV series, which actually maintained coherency, and they only did 3 seasons of it to try and keep it coherent. So, but yeah, an example of an author losing track of their own books, and you think authors would be...
You would kind of, yeah.
Especially 3 books in, I'm like,
yeah, you want to have a clear line on where you're going, I feel like.
Yeah.
When I was younger, tried to write a book just because I really enjoyed writing and I was a kid and thought that'd be fun. and I lost track so easily and realized that I can't do this.
It's why authors generally write synopsises of their own work before they sit down and write the whole book, because you've got to keep track of your own characters.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the book gets away from you. Because I've written bits and pieces of stuff, and I eventually get to the point where, hey, I've done the fun bits I wanted to do. I don't want to do the rest of the character development. But my niece has written books. She's been she got an award in a competition for a short novel. She's she's been writing a set of novels for the last 15 years, and she can't finish them because she said the characters take on a life of their own when she starts writing, and it's really hard to keep track of it and everything. So she loses track in her own characters. And she knows what she wants to do and where she's going with it. She's got a plan, and she's scrapped it and rewritten it so many times because something has happened. She goes, it's almost like the book has a more life of its own, and I'm just writing down the history.
That's cool. That's cool. I lose track in my own head, so.
I was going to say, because I was listening in even whilst I was away, but good series, like a series of books that to me is just badly messed up its own canon since a new author took it over, was the Millennium trilogy, the Millennium series, the Swedish novels, which the original three are some of my favorite books. But they had another author, because obviously the original author died. But it's just like even like little basic things about like some of the ages of the characters or whatever that just somehow don't make sense.
Them.
They went from it's like one character went from being in his like mid-60s to like 89, yet it seems like all the other characters stayed at the same age. It's like because obviously the first one is the girl with the dragon tattoo, and even though she's characters in the books you're talking about, even though the main characters are like in her 20s or whatever, they call her girl because she looks very young for her age, and but if her age had moved in terms with this character, like she'd be in her mid 40s by now, but still is portrayed in if she'd moved in time with this other character. She'd be in her like early to mid 40s or whatever, but no, she's still portrayed in her mid 20s. So it's just little things like that like he's like that. It's like, did you actually? And even about like things like her online nickname was the Wasp, and that was explained by Stieg Larsson in one of his books. And then David Lagerkrantz gave a completely different reason for the nickname in like the first of his book, and said, "Oh, she was a big fan of Marvel comics or whatever, and that was her favorite character was the Wasp." Is the explanation at Lagerkrantz, which was totally different from the entire explanation given by Stieg Larsson. It was just things like that. When I'm like, I was listening.
You haven't read the book that you're supposedly writing now.
Fucking book that if you read the book that you're supposed to even be following up.
Probably watch the movies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
probably.
So I do. I watch them. No.
Okay, that's the link.
Okay.
That is really weird.
Film theory.
Yeah, no, that I was saying that essentially MatPat had a theory back in 2016 that the characters from Rogue One ended up becoming the Knights of Ren. And it's really interesting how he breaks it all down. I mean, it wasn't true, but it was still a really cool theory to think about. Because basically, they kept wanting to say that, oh, well, Jyn Erso or whatever was Rey's mom. You know, that was a theory that was floating around for a while. And MatPat's like, no, I like this other theory better because it means that these characters that you're supposed to root for, they're supposed to be heroes, actually get to be tied into the main like storyline in like an interesting and tragic way.
I think it's Dave. I mean, it does seem like with a lot of the major franchises like the Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever it is, it definitely seems that you've got writers that just do not seem to appreciate the fandom. Though I think is a big issue with this, and I do enjoy writers that really do, seem to either listen to the fandom and even sometimes will tease the fandom with things, and only to sort of swerve them a bit. Like they'll like now the example of this I keep giving is the TV series Cobra Kai.
That's good.
Now the people who write that clearly were fans of the Karate Kid films. They actually clearly were, and the way they clearly are listening to their fans as well, because the way they played on certain fan theories, like because there was always this sort of hot fan theory about that Daniel was the real bully. They played into that a little bit in that series. They were like, who's the real bad guy here? They played into that a bit in the first series, and then there was a big fan theory that the doctor who was going to come and save Miguel's life in season 3 was Ali Mills. That was when Elizabeth Shue was going to come in the series, and then they teased it for a second where you see this like blonde-haired woman who's going to be the surgeon that's going to save him, and you only see her from the back, and you're expecting her to turn around and it be Elizabeth Shue. It turns around, it's a totally different woman. It's like they were listening. It's clearly they were listening to the fan theories and even teasing them and like occasionally having fun, and it made the series so much more enjoyable.
Yes, I love that series. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I especially love what they did with Chosen in series 3. That was my favourite thing.
For what?
What they did with Chosen, the villain from Karate Kid 2?
Yeah.
What they did with him in season 3 was epic, because he's just like a totally changed man altogether.
Yep.
I'm going to be rude, people, because I probably should. I should probably get to bed, but B, if I keep streaming, I'm going to get noisy and I'll keep Rob awake. So.
Yeah, no worries, Jen.
I will catch you guys all later. Love
Bye.
you.
No worries.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
I'll catch you later. Bye.
Yeah. You've still not seen it yet, Gary. Sorry, I didn't realise. Right. Go and watch it then. You got no excuses now. Come on. Go and watch it. I love that series so much, though.
Yeah, they did a great job. And I like how they showed more of Johnny's side and how Johnny was just as shitted on, basically. Like,
yeah, he kind of
he had a shitty life too, and he was going through things as well.
I think it's sort of illustrating the fact that generally a lot of the people who get bullied themselves tend sometimes lash out and will bully someone else. That's kind of what they're, in a way, what happened. Like, you feel like, okay, in the crew, you kind of realize when you know a bit about Johnny's backstory, this is why he bullied Daniel in the Karate Kid film.
Yeah,
he was getting bullied at home, by his stepfather and stuff,
Yep.
And it's his way, and he lashed out at a weaker target.
It interests me so much why people do what they do. So I try to listen to people's stories. So I think that was a cool way to put it together.
Yeah, it was really well done. It really was.
Yep.
Yeah, because it makes. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally, they completely humanized him. And I think the fact that they had to make Daniel a little bit dislikable in the first series, especially, helped people with the whole thing with making Johnny very like a likable character.
Yep.
But basically, it's kind of the whole thing of Johnny's basically a decent guy who's trying to do the right thing, but hasn't necessarily been taught the right way himself. But deep down, you can see he's a good guy. You know,
Yep.
He's a good guy, and he genuinely cares about that kid Miguel, and wants, you know.
You know, I only remember the first Karate Kid and the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank on it.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones I remember.
They have said as well that they consider the next karate, the Hilary Swank one, as canon. So it's like, it's now if they could get Hilary Swank to appear in that series, because there's always been the big thing: will they bring her character in as a one-off or something? You know, because I know a lot of people just did not like that movie, the next Karate Kid. But they did say they consider that canon, and of course, obviously, Hilary Swank's had a pretty successful career since that movie. So
yeah, like I remember going from watching the next Karate Kid to Boys Don't Cry. That was, you know, as far as films go. There was a little bit of actor whiplash with those two for me anyway. Like watching, you know, kids film, la-di-da, everything's nice, to holy crap, this movie. Like Boys Don't Cry was intense to watch.
I haven't seen that.
Gary, I'll say that remake with Jackie Chan, I despised that movie. I'm sorry, I despised that remake with Jackie Chan and Will Smith's son. That remake of the Karate Kid, that was just bad. Yeah, that was just bad.
I mean,
I agree. I did not like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it was fine. I mean, like as its own thing, like it was watchable, you know. But as part of like an overall like franchise, like it is what it is. Like again, I don't know.
I think why it didn't work to me was that and I love me some Jackie Chan, and I don't dislike Jaden Smith, but there just wasn't the sort of chemistry between him and Jaden Smith that there was between Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita, which was what I think kind of made the Karate Kid movies was that way they played off each other was very believable.
They had great on-screen chemistry.
Yeah, and like Pat, if you ever listened to Pat Morita talk, he had an American accent. He was putting on that Japanese accent.
Oh, really?
He was a stand-up comedian. He had a weird billing of what he called himself, which is I don't want to say because it's would be considered very racist now, but it involved. He used to call himself the hip. You guess the next word, okay? That was the way he billed himself as Pat Morita the hip. Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah. You get it. But he had a very much, and as I said, he was I think he was living in Hawaii. Yes, I think he was. But
there seems to be a really large Japanese population in Hawaii.
There's a brilliant interview somewhere of him. I think it's on YouTube, but he's talking about doing like auditioning for the Karate Kid, and how they didn't really want him. They wanted like a serious actor, and then but he's just doing the whole thing, and then at the very end he says, "And that's why Miyagi talk like this," you know, because that's just not how that's not his accent at all. That was never how he spoke. But yeah, I think that's kind of why the Jackie Chan, Jaden Smith thing didn't work. That it just wasn't the.
Yeah, I agree. John Wick is another great series.
Oh yeah.
Just I see that comment.
Oh, you have to go. I'm trying to think. A couple of months ago on One Ring's channel, myself, Ring, Noodle. I think Sam may have been on one or two. We did the whole John Wick series.
Oh, really?
For his for Ring's media musing show. I'll
have to check that out.
Yeah.
So I'm looking on HBO Max because there was a show I wanted to look for, and I did not know they have an entire section devoted to Studio Ghibli. They have... I've never even heard of that one. Earwig and the Witch? Maybe it's new. But they've got My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke, Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind, Ponyo, Secret World of Ariadne, Whisper of the Heart, Cat Returns, Porco Rosso, The Wind Rises, Castle in the Sky. When Marnie Was There, Tale of Princess Kaguya. Oh, that is such an interesting story. Ocean Waves, Tales from Earth. I think they have all of Miyazaki. I'm actually struggling to try to think of a Miyazaki film that they don't actually have on here. At least the main ones, you know? But my son had wanted to watch My Neighbor Totoro, and I thought I was going to have to dig out Michael's DVDs because he's got like the box set of all of Miyazaki's films. I thought I was going to have to go brave the storage room. It's one of the bedrooms that you kind of need to be a bit of a contortionist to walk around in there. It was basically where Michael stored all of his movies, his role-playing books, his miniatures. Michael's got like 100,000 points worth of orcs for Warhammer 40K that he got for free, which is kind of cool. And that's why I was going to do an orc army when I decided I wanted to like try out 40K. I was going to do orcs because I was like, oh, I want to do Slanesh because demons of basically sex and torture and excess and pleasure sounds cool. Interesting concept. Oh, but they're really expensive. Orcs. Oh, those actually sound kind of interesting. That would be my second choice. Oh, what? I can do this for free? Sold. But yeah, Michael's got a bunch of stuff in there. And then, now there's some of my son's stuff in there too that I haven't had the heart to get rid of yet because I'm sentimental with certain things. So I have to go duck and weave like a snake to get through that room. We do need to clean it out soon. But that is a tomorrow problem, not a today problem.
I am sentimental and keep stuff too. My husband is constantly telling me we don't need all this stuff. I have a whole tote of some of my daughter's baby clothes.
I have that too.
You're never going to have more babies. So why are we keeping this?
I'm making them into a quilt.
Oh, that's such a cute idea. Oh, I like that.
I'm going to take a square at least from each one because I'm not having any more kids. I can't have any more kids, biologically. So, it's not like they're going to get handed down or handed off to the next child, but they still have significance for me, and their memories. So I'm literally just going to turn them into a big quilt made out of all his baby clothes.
That's super cute.
Kitty, can I actually ask, how is going on the sewing machine front?
Okay, so the fundraiser actually reached its goal a little smidge over. So I'm super excited for that. I'm waiting for all the money to clear. It said that the last of it should clear by the 20th, the last time that I checked
cool.
the GoFundMe. It was still processing and it said it was expecting it to be on the 20th. And so I've got everything just chilling in my cart ready to pull the trigger on that and order it as soon as it comes in. So I'm
That's exciting.
super excited. I know, I was bouncing in my chair last night with Will. There was one person, like the fundraiser had been 1/3 of the goal. And then one person went and donated the rest. And it just so happened to be a $666 donation, which made my little black heart pitter patter with delight because
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
So they did their donation anonymously, so like I could see who it was, but nobody else could. So that's why I'm not gendering or anything. Just this person was amazing, and they're not somebody that I know personally. Hello?
That's really awesome.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yep.
So I just put it in chat. Anyone does want to join, hey, let me know. Got room here. So
yeah, thanks for inviting me. This is fun.
Jay, you're always welcome.
I'm working this morning, but we've been very slow lately. So I've only had to answer like 3 tickets while we've been doing this, and otherwise I'm very bored, or was very bored.
It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of why I just jumped on, because I was a bit bored. Like I said, I'm kind of confined to my house for a few days, so it's like,
for sure.
Yeah,
I work from home now, so I pretty much never leave my house. Besides my sister, I go to her house every Wednesday, and then she comes to my house with her family every Saturday, just so that we can get out of our houses, because her and her boyfriend also work from home.
Purple saying we have some very generous people in our community with a couple of fundraisers I've helped with. We've had people make donations of a couple of $100 who wanted to remain anonymous, which is fair enough. It's, I mean, and I've obviously happy to donate to. I've donated to a few or whatever. But I mean, okay, there's the one that I did that I helped, that I know I plugged, that we got, the community got stung on. But hey, Claire, good to see you. Claire, I think Jen's gone now, but check your DMs. I think Jen might have sent you a link to this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Overprotected Atheist is also doing a fundraiser. I think she's getting divorced, and her husband.
I saw something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, her husband's trying to fight her for a lot of the stuff, so she's trying to hire a good lawyer so that she gets custody of her kids, and she's been not working so that he could work, so she doesn't have, a job or money or anything. So everyone has been super supportive of her, which is awesome. This community is great. They're just so welcoming and so friendly and helpful, and I have enjoyed my experience so far.
Oh, never mind, Claire. Never mind. Yeah, Claire can't join. But never mind. But this has its this community. It has its ups and its downs. It's times when it can be a bit frustrating and you need to take a step back. But on the whole, this is a very, very good community. And
that's normal. Like any relationship, you're gonna have its ups and downs. So
yeah. It's it definitely has its ups and its downs, and But that's, like I said, that's just life in general, isn't it?
Yep.
So, and have amazing hair. Now that could apply to anyone in this stream, quite frankly.
Michael
no worries,
called me,
Kitty.
and I just needed to take the call because
Yeah.
I was trying to get something working.
That
But yeah,
could-
so this person, I don't know them. Like personally, I've never spoken with them. Pretty sure they follow me on Twitter, but I'm not 100% on that. And they did. They donated a huge chunk to the fundraiser. And when I saw that, I literally, my jaw bounced off the floor like old cartoony style, because I was expecting it to take a month or two and maybe get close, which would help because it would go towards it. I was not expecting to hit that goal. I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting to hit the goal at all, let alone within, a week or two of starting the fundraiser. So I just, that person has my eternal gratitude. Well,
yeah,
not
that's
eternal.
so
Nothing's
awesome.
eternal. Not even the universe is eternal, but it is what it is. But I'm also excited because remember when I said that I wanted to make Matt, Almost a Doctor, his amazing Technicolor lab coat. The pattern came, so
oh yes.
I got
Hold
the
on.
the lab coat pattern.
Let me put you full screen.
Right
yes. Yes, and that that has to be done.
I'm excited. And I saw a fabric that I really liked, and I asked him what he thought about it, and I was like, which of these two do you like better? He's like, I like that one. And it was on sale, so tomorrow I'm going to swing by Joann's and see if I can't get a couple yards of it. I only need like 3 1/4, maybe 3 1/8, according to the pattern, yards for it of that fabric, but I'll probably get 4 just because getting fractions of yards is kind of annoying, and it's a really cool pattern or fabric, and I can use it to make myself like a little pillowcase or something. Oh no, please don't let me start having hiccups. I hate the hiccups.
Those are the worst.
No, there was a guy that had like a problem. Like he tore something when he was young, when he was like in his 20s or something like that, and he ended up having hiccups for like 70 years.
Oh no.
I would have I would have ended myself. I could not have done it. I like actually I'll have to look it up and see.
7 minutes is too long for me.
I remember reading about it. Okay, so the longest recorded case of the hiccups was 68 years long, from 1922 to 1990. A U.S. man named Charles Osborne continuously hiccuped from 20 to 40 times every minute. Osborne repeatedly first experienced the record-breaking case of hiccups the record-breaking case of hiccups in 1922 when he fell down while attempting to weigh a 350-pound hog before butchering it. It is thought that Osborne may have damaged the area of his brain stem that is responsible for controlling the spasms of the diaphragm that cause hiccups. 1 year before his death at age 97, Osborne's hiccups suddenly stopped, but his doctors could not come up with conclusive medical explanation.
So he had to wait till he was 97 before his hiccup stopped.
Yeah. He had them for 68 years. Like, hell is real. It was what that guy went through.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's 7 minutes of the hiccups. I'm just like, shoot me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds terrible. I don't know that I could live with that.
Nerdy's asking that question like 40 times a minute. I was going to say that's going to be hiccuping every other second, surely.
Yep. How do you even talk or do anything? You're just constantly hiccuping.
Oh, I found some more info here. Before anyone asks why nothing was done to stop them from occurring, we can tell you that several attempts were made to stop the problem from persisting. Surgeons attempted operations to stop the hiccups, but the attempts proved unsuccessful. He did manage to stop them for a period of 36 hours by using hormone therapy, but due to other complications, the treatment had to be halted.
Wow.
All I can say is poor guy. Osborne hiccuped on average every 10 seconds while he was suffering the longest hiccups ever recorded. To put this in perspective, that's 6 hicks every minute, 360 an hour, 8640 a day, and 3,153,600 every year for 68 years.
I suppose this is probably the argument you get used to it after a while, but god damn, I wouldn't wish that on like my worst enemy.
Yeah, I get like legitimately mad and frustrated when I have the hiccups for a long period of time. So for years, oh my gosh.
Are you like me, one of those people that when you're frustrated, you cry?
Yeah.
Like I hate it. I hate it so much. Like when I'm like really angry, or like mostly when I'm like frustrated, angry, like I actually get like, you know, teary and emotional, and I freaking hate it. It's awful.
Yep, I do too. I'm an extremely emotional person, unfortunately.
I'm not necessarily great. I do have this tendency to sort of like go and punch the blooming wall or something, or if I'm frustrated, then regret it afterwards, and I'm thinking, why did I do that? My knuckles hurt now.
The wall's not gonna feel it, but you
sure
will.
I'm sure I'm gonna goddamn feel it, but yeah.
But yeah, fucking 70 years almost of hiccups.
Yeah, that's
proof there is no God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, we're back
Although
on martial
Christians
arts.
would
Yeah,
say-
going Chris at a bacon. That's actually worse than re-stomping a groin like Master Ken teaches. I love those videos. I love Master Ken. I think that's so funny.
Yeah. I'm sure Christians would say that his hiccups being cured after 70 years with no scientific reason was proof of God. God cured them.
I once got into an argument with my aunt. Like I'm the only atheist in my family, so like I'm not allowed to talk religion really or politics at family gatherings because I'm also liberal and they're all, you know, conservatives. But I was at my aunt's Christmas Eve party, and when, you know, we were talking like just randomly, she invited me to go to her church, and I was like, sure, if you want me to go with you to a church service, I've got no problem with that. She couldn't leave it at that though. She's like, because Jesus has so blessed my life and I want that for you too. And I'm like, okay, all right, you walked into it, I'll bite. Why does your life deserve to be blessed by Jesus? And she was like, oh, well, blah, 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 you know, my piety, essentially. And I was like, oh, okay, but, I mean, why you specifically? You are, you know, double income, no kids, like, wealthy, waspy, like, you know, you have it made. There are essentially kids dying of starvation and, you know, in Africa, or AIDS, or any number of diseases there. So she was like, oh, well, you know, I believe that suffering brings us closer to God. And I was like, okay, what about in cases of genetic disorders like Tay-Sachs? Tay-Sachs is an inherited condition that the child will know nothing but pain and suffering and die by about the age of 6 or 7. Like a child doesn't even have the higher functioning at that age to even understand that their suffering is to bring them to God. So it wouldn't work. Oh, well, in a case like that, it would be, you know, to bring the parents closer to God. I was like, oh, so you're all loving God would torture and murder an innocent child so their parents may or may not learn a lesson and become closer to God. And she just kind of like gaped like a fish. She had no response. And my mom like started to get mad at me, you know, and like, Kitty's talking religion. And my dad's like, nah, your sister walked into this. She started it.
That's good.
Just leave it alone. you know?
Yeah.
But this is also the same aunt that told me that if I had been a better wife, then maybe my husband wouldn't have abused me. So, you know.
Fucks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel
word.
too bad about it. Like, I mean, she's come a long way, though.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly.
it's like it's like, so I hear those things. It's easy to so I have that initial reaction like, oh my fucking. But you got to remember these people, they're victims of bad ideas like that as well. You know.
And I mean, honestly, like, I gotta give her props. She's become a lot more. I mean, not progressive in the sense of like her politics, but more accepting. Like, she does not care. Like, because I don't like hiding things from people, you know, when we added our third in our poly relationship, I, you know, wanted all of us to go to my aunt's function, but I was going to be upfront. Hey, you know, we are all in a relationship together. It's a poly thing. Everybody knows it's copacetic here. And she's like, I mean, as long as it's not, you know, you sneaking behind, you know, your son's father's back, or like, as long as everybody knows, and like, it's not gonna like cause a scene or anything like that, go for it. Like, I don't care. Like, you do you. And I was like, thank you, you know? And like, we still disagree on a lot of things, but I can at least respect the fact that she has taken a much more like live and let live, you know, type of mentality. So that's good.
Yeah. That is good. My family and I don't talk anymore, so that's good that you guys can find a way to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the one that seems to have the biggest issue with the poly thing is my mom. It's like she's always trying to pick fights with Chris, and everybody sees it, and we just kind of like roll our eyes at it, like. But you know, she's gotten called out on it a few times. But then it's funny. Before that, it was my partner Michael who was always the one that she was like, you know, about. And then once Chris comes in the picture, now Michael can do no wrong. It's the weirdest thing to see that switch flipped. But
Yeah.
I mean, my dad, my sister, my brother-in-law, like, they're all like, hey, you know, whatever. Like, they don't care. Like, my sister Allie is actually the most cool with it. She's also the youngest and the closest to me in belief systems, you know. She's still a little spiritual. Like, she's kind of more like a spiritual agnostic. Like, she's like, things happen for a reason. She believes in like good vibes, bad vibes. Nothing really tangible or concrete, just kind of a general, you know, there's something, I don't know what.
Yeah. Sort of like, I mean, for lack of a better word, sort of like a karma type sort of thing, like that.
Yeah, she believes in karma. Like, she believes things happen for a reason. Like, I was just there on Monday because my son had therapy, and both my parents are disabled. So my sister and her husband live with them, and it helps them make ends meet, you know, and they're there to help out with anything they might need. And my mom has had this teacup chihuahua for 15 years. It was originally my sister's dog, but after less than a year, she got over her Paris Hilton dog in a bag phase and didn't care about the dog anymore. So it became my mom's dog. And that's my other sister, not my youngest. Because my youngest sister is like my best friend. My other sister, she's family, but we're not close.
Guys, I'll be back in 2 secs, okay? Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So on Monday, I was there after my son's therapy, and the plan was to re-dye my sister's hair, my youngest sister. And my mom's dog had been having, you know, like, she was at the end of her life, and the dog actually passed away on Monday. And she was breathing kind of slow and shallow when Allie checked on her. I came out of the bathroom. I was like, what's going on? She's like, oh, it's Bella. So I go in and I check on her, and she looked rough. And I noticed her breath getting like really shallow and fluttery. So I scooped her up and held her because, you know, I knew it was going to be any time then, and I didn't want her to go alone. I didn't have a strong emotional attachment to the dog. You know, it wasn't my pet, but I mean, it's what you do. It's the humane thing.
Yeah.
And so I was with her at the end, which is good because, you know, my mom, after, you know, the dog was gone, we told my mom, and my mom just started wailing. She was inconsolable for a while. And she was like, they had tried to take the dog in to be euthanized a couple months ago because she had gone completely blind. She was having trouble eating. She was in a lot of pain. Like, the dog was always like whimpering in pain. And the vet that they took her to, they're like, oh, well, she doesn't seem to be an imminent threat of death, so we're not going to euthanize her. But if you want, you can sign her over and we'll send her to somebody else who will stay with her until she does die. And it's like, we're trying to minimize suffering here. So the dog ended up living about 2 or 3 months after that. And the last 3 days of her life were rough. She didn't eat really at all for 3 days, and then for about 24 hours she didn't move at all. Like, we think she had another seizure. Like, she could move her head a bit, but the rest of her body was just kind of limp. And so my mom was with her pretty much every minute, you know, had her in the bed with her, like everything. And it was a really rough weekend for my mom and my sister. And then it all ended on Monday. And, you know, my mom's like, oh, well, what if I gave her too much CBD? I'm like, Mom, you can overdose on CBD. And here's the thing, even if I grant you that you could, which you can't, it would have been a mercy. Like, the dog was suffering. The dog was not going to last long anyway. Even if you did overdose the dog on CBD by giving her a little bit of CBD, it would have been a mercy. It would have meant she suffered less in her final moments, as opposed, she's like, yeah, I'm just trying to blame myself. I'm like, you can't blame yourself. The dog was 15. The dog was suffering. The dog is no longer suffering, you know, and she was as comfortable as could be, and she didn't die alone. That's it. That's all we can hope for. And I'm glad that I was the one there too, because when another family dog died, when my sister's dog Chopper died, it was not peaceful. Like, he was still like choking and like gasping for breath, and spasms continued even after life functions had ceased. So it was not pleasant, and I was worried that it would be something like that.
Yeah.
But it was literally just, you know, a whisper. Like, her final breath kind of like just went out like a butterfly, you know, like butterfly wings, and it was just calm and quiet and peaceful. And we can all hope to die like that, you know, like in the arms of someone that is giving us comfort, and quietly with a whisper, you know. But had it not been so peaceful, it would have broken my mom if she was the one there. Like, just the fact that she died really did a number. But yeah, like,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Like, again, the dog was 15 years old and was suffering. So I'm, and this is going to sound heartless, but I'm actually kind of glad that it's over and that she's not suffering anymore, because I don't like needless suffering in anyone. Like, not humans, not animals. And usually we treat our animals better than we treat our people, where when you get to be that miserable, you're basically allowed to be put out of your misery.
Yep.
That particular vet, though, just was just awful.
It sounds
Absolutely
like it.
awful.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't understand like how you can look at that dog and see, you know, she can't put her tongue in her mouth because she'd had a stroke. She struggled to eat. She was completely blind. Her knee kept giving out on her, like a trick knee kind of thing, where she'd have to hobble around on 3 legs. And it's like, you try to do right by your animal by saying, look, my pet is suffering. It's time for them to go. And they're like, no, we'll give him to somebody else if you want, but we're not going to actually put the animal out of its misery. I don't understand that, because one, why would you want to give your pet up and let their final days be with a stranger? And two, like, why force needless suffering on an animal that is 15 years old and is anybody? You pick any person off the street and show them that dog. Do you think this animal is suffering? Every single one of them. I mean, you can't even get all the dentists to agree that fucking sugar-free gum is better for you. So, but you would be able to get everyone to agree that the dog is suffering if you saw that. And it really pisses me off. And like, fuck that vet for causing extra months of suffering for my family and for the animal. Like, Bella didn't deserve that.
No, and neither did your mom or your family.
It was easier on my sister Allie, because my sister was the one that, you know, was with my dad to try to have her euthanized a couple months ago. And so she had already started her mourning process because she knew, like, her grieving and everything, because she knew that, like, time was up, borrowed time, you know, and that the dog was not going to live much longer. They were expecting the dog to last maybe a couple more weeks, if that, which, I mean, depending, it kind of true, you know, I mean, she lasted about 2 months.
Unfortunately, we lost him about 5 years ago. This was our dog, like, but he died at 12. But a similar thing, like, his legs just gave out on him one day, and the vet had to say, "Listen, he's never going to walk again, and he's in pain." You know, and it's a horrible thing in the world, but it's like, yeah, kind of, you know, kind of got to put, you know, not let them suffer, haven't you? You know, at that point.
Yeah.
But he was lovely. He was absolutely good. He was lovely, that dog. He did you probably see he did cute very well as well. He was very good at the shall we say, the sort of Springer Spaniel, especially if, like, we had guests around and if there was food, he'd just come and put his head on the lap, as if the whole "I'm neglected, nobody here loves me, they don't feed me" look. And it's like, and that dog was, if anything, we actually had to put him on the diet a couple of times because he got overweight, you know. So you know, but he would do the whole "I'm neglected" thing really well. He was very good at begging for food.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah, is Dusty, his name was. That was his name.
I'll be right back. My kids just woke up.
Yeah, no worries. No worries, Jade. Yeah. It's heartbreaking losing a pet, though. It really can be. Yes, like what Purple said. I mean, yeah, that sounds horrible that an animal that already had suffering, and on top of that, they feel, you know, they got the feeling that they were being abandoned. It's going to cause them more distress, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I can't believe that's even been suggested, really. By that, that's just, you know, wow. Okay. Okay, Kelly, I'm just going to show you.
Photo of Bella real quick.
Okay, I'll show you the weirdest staring contest I've ever had here. And I'll just say the bird blinked first. It's called the Saxon. It's a golden eagle. It's not mine, obviously, but you know, he's a gorgeous bird, though. Well, Gary's saying I had to put down 18-year-old cat last week. Sorry to hear that, mate. Sorry to hear that. It's horrible losing a pet. It really can be. It's
My mom's already set up a little memorial for the dog.
Oh. I'm gonna say I'm not even a cat person, but yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Gary. I really am. I'm not even a cat. Okay. Oh, okay.
So that's actually the quilt that I made my mom.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna put this full screen. Sorry, yeah.
So that was Bella.
Oh, lovely.
That's
lovely.
teeny tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to go to Facebook and snag this from my mom.
So. Gary says thanks. Yeah, they are animals. They do become family. Totally, they are family.
I have a cat that I've had for about the same amount of time. My cat's almost 15 years old, and then well, I have 4 cats, and they're actually all blood related because my middle sister, not the youngest, but the one in the middle, she calls me up and like fucking at like 2 a.m. She's like, "Hey, we found this box with kittens in it," and this was 15 years ago. And I was like, "Oh, okay. What do you want me to do?" And she's like, "Can you come here?" And I was like, "Okay." So I went there, and the runt of the litter was the only one they hadn't found a home for, and like they were looking rough. They still had their umbilical cords attached. They were covered in fleas and dirt, and it was bad. So I took the runt, gave it a bath, bottle fed it every 2 hours. Didn't think it'd survive, but it did. And that is my cat, Celine. She's actually right here. Come here, Celine. First off, no chewing rubber bands. But
nope. I'm guessing she's just shut off.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah.
My kids will sleep till noon if I let them.
See, even when I'm off, I can't sleep. I very, very rarely. I've got to have had like a serious drinking night to like the early hours of the morning to like, get up by noon or after. It's just almost unheard of for me because normally because I'm used to getting up like work wise. I normally get up at like 5 a.m. or whatever. Usually a lot of the time 7 or 8 in the morning is like a lie-in for me. I'm quite happy with that,
Yeah, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work every day. And so on my days off, I wake up at like 6:30, and that's me sleeping in.
Yeah.
I wish I could sleep till noon some days.
Hi, Sakura. And then my son's dog is.
I mean, I think the last time I ended up sleeping till like the afternoon was I think I ended up on a live stream or something, but then how like afterwards you end up chatting for hours sometimes afterwards. Kind of happens, and it's all of a sudden before I knew it was like 6:30 in the morning. and I'd been sitting there drinking rum and coke all night.
That sounds like a great night.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been like after the Shills or something, because I know I was talking to Dick Dawson and Amy Hogan, so I'm guessing it was after the Shills.
Yeah, I haven't talked that long on an after a stream, but Sam Chaos and I talked for like 45 minutes after a stream one time. That was the longest. But we had so much fun.
Doggo! Sorry.
Yeah, this is Sakura.
Doggo!
Are you a good girl?
Say hello, Doggo.
Are you a good girl?
Ugh.
This is my son's dog. She's such a good girl.
Yeah.
Not the mouth. Preferably not the face, but definitely not the mouth. We don't know. We think she's got some poodle in her, but she's a mutt. So, because she's got this like wiry hair.
Yeah, super cute.
See, it's like one of those things that it's almost like it's almost like a lot of them people have to sort of say that they're make up some sort of thing or whatever. Let's say they're cross between a Springer Spaniel and a Collie or whatever. Say, oh, it's a Sprolly. He says, no, it's a fucking mongrel. Just own it.
My son, not the face. My son will call a poodle Labrador mix a poopador. And I'm really hoping.
We call them they called Labradoodles in the UK. Yeah.
But my son calls them a poopador, so I'm actually hoping that she's a poopador dog. I mean, I can see it. She does look like
that's better than Labradoodle, actually.
Or lab in there. But yeah, that's Sakura. And then Celine fucked up because she's not scared of Sakura. Like Sakura, she's great with the cats. Like she doesn't hurt them or anything like that. But they're still a little bit skittish around. They're still a little skittish around the dogs. So what?
Purple says purebreds are a result of excessive inbreeding, which is why so many breeds have hereditary problems. Yeah, if you want to look at a particular breed, British Bulldogs in particular have a lot of issues because of excessive inbreeding. As cute as they are, but British Bulldogs are they have a lot of issues because of that.
We have Fish. That's the pet that we chose to get because we had a dog for a short period of time, but we have 3 kids and my husband runs a business and we just were too busy to give full attention to a pet. My mother-in-law had 4 Shih Tzus and she wanted another boy. And that's what we had. So we ended up giving our dog to my mother-in-law. So we still get to see him all the time. But we've stuck with Fish.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's the cat. There's the kitty. A kitty. It's a kitty with a kitty.
Well, that's Orion.
Yeah.
And then Leo's bringing his chunky booty over here. Leo's literally right here next to the dog. But is giving the dog a look like, fuck you.
Gary, here's the question. When you say kitty, are you talking about the cat or are you actually talking about Kitty? That's the thing, yeah.
So
basically, the cat.
Basically, like finish the story. They got interrupted by fur babies. Celine, I still have, and she was just here a minute ago. But she's almost 15. And my sister, the middle sister, took one of the kittens from the litter as well. And I got Celine fixed, but she didn't get Sophia fixed quick enough. So Sophia got pregnant and ended up having 3 kittens. And I was there for the birth because I took care of her while she was pregnant. And those 3 cats are Leo, Orion, and Luna. So LOL, I like instant crazy cat lady. So I have Celine, Leo, Orion, and Luna. And Leo is a fluff boy. But he also acts like a dog. He'll greet you at the door when you come home, follow you around the house. Like, he's very chill. Orion is a window licker. And, like, I mean this literally. He will try to eat fake plants. He'll just lick the window. There was one time that he was on a chair with wheels, and
I was going to say that has a, I don't know about in America, but that phrase in the UK has a very different connotation.
No, but he's also a meerkat. Like, he'll stand up like on his back paws like a meerkat. And he's derpy. He's my derpy cat. But he, is more aloof. And there was this one time, he's also kind of dumb. There was one time he was on a chair on wheels on the hardwood floor. And he went to jump from the wheelchair to the arm of the sofa. Yeah. The momentum pushed the chair backwards, and he face planted right into the side of the sofa. I laughed my ass off. It was fucking hilarious. And he looked at me like, "What? I meant to do that." Like
I was gonna say, I don't know if you I don't know if you caught the reference or meant. It's only because I don't know if this is a phrase that's that people use in America or not. But when you said window licker, that's got a very different connotation in the UK. I don't know if you know, but I don't know if that translates in America.
I can kind of like guess what it would mean there.
It's quite a derogatory thing to call a mentally handicapped person. So
he's literally licking the window right now.
You
literally went and licked the window right now
in a very literal sense. Yeah, we're just clearing that up in case if anyone in the UK is like just so we.
Most definitely. But yeah, he'll eat fake plants, plastic bags.
Yeah.
He's my derpy cat. He's not very smart. He will play with my green screen curtain and then scare himself and run away. Like he's special. And then Luna is literally the most cat-like cat you'll ever see. Like when you think of cats, you think aloof. They do their own thing. Luna will be up your ass when she wants attention, but other than that, you won't see her. She just fucks off and does her own thing.
The whole
Leo and Celine are the ones that are always near you, and Orion's kind of in between. Orion is somewhat aloof, but also, affectionate. And like Luna sounds like Amy Winehouse. Like she's got that gravelly, raspy, like little meow.
I always said, you don't really own a cat. A cat owns you.
Dogs have owners. Cats have staff.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go and focus on work. So
I'm probably going to have to wrap this up. We've been going about 2.5 hours anyway, so I'm probably going to wrap this up anyway. So just before you jump, you got anything you'd like to plug before we jump, Jade?
On Friday, I'm going to be on Hereticals with Jen for the girls' takeover night. I think it's 8 or 7 a.m. Eastern time. And then I have 2 interviews coming out. I'm not sure when yet, but they should be coming out within the next couple weeks. So then I'll share those. I did one with Harmonic Atheist and then another YouTuber, which I cannot think of their name right now. Shoot. But they are going to come out soon, so I'll share those as soon as they do.
Cool. Awesome. Cheers, Jake. Kenny, you got anything you like to plug?
Well, we've got the What the Fuck show tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern on Jen's channel. I'm not sure if they fully solidified the entire guest list. There's Celine. Hey, Celine. But yeah, so I will be on there for that. I was talking about you. I gotta show you off.
Oh, here we are.
This little tortie here. This is Celine.
And
I bottle fed her to keep her alive, and she is 15 years old now. And the other cats are around 13, because they're only about a year. They're only about 2 years or so younger than Celine.
This is become the Cats takeover stream here. Hopefully this will boost the views here, because you know cat videos do get the most views on YouTube. So hopefully that will boost the view. So.
And she drools when she purrs. So
yeah, you're doing the What the Fuck show. If I am up and about, I'll be in the chat or whatever. But it's on. That's about. I think it's normally like 3 a.m. my time that you guys normally start.
You can catch it after. Like, it's fine.
I tend to a lot, but it's kind of nice when I actually have the opportunity to jump in sometimes. But it's quite rare nowadays. But
yeah, that's on when I go to bed.
Yeah,
you're always welcome. You know, if you're ever up at that time.
Yeah, that's why a lot of the time I tend to join on my phone, because it's kind of like have to kind of go downstairs and whatever, because other people got in the house have to sleep, and it's like, you know. But
I just need a clawed glove, like, I'll get you, Gadget.
Yeah.
Anyone else watch Inspector Gadget as a kid?
Yes.
I loved Inspector Gadget.
Yes.
I loved that. Especially that was the guy who did the voice. The guy who did the voice for it was the guy from Get Smart, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I
think
so. Yeah, I think it was the guy from Get Smart did the voice of Inspector Gadget. I think. But,
I'm not sure.
I'll have to double check that, but I'm about 90% certain on that one. As for me, I haven't really got anything planned at the moment. I sort of been really, I guess I sort of taken a break from a lot of my sort of like content I do, because a lot of the, a lot of it's and as people know, I've been just chilling out watching soccer matches over the last month or so as content, but which I can't do anymore. But yeah, do give us a like, share, and subscribe if you can. Same with same with Kelly, same with Jade. And Jade's an upcoming star, I believe, in this community, especially. So, but she still has not. We have warned her. You are going to run into Darth Dawkins at some point.
I know. I'm waiting.
He is going to spam your chat before long. It will happen.
It'll be interesting when it does. That's for sure.
Well, the thing is, it'll probably come under an account like Evolution False or something like that, or it never comes in under his own actual Darth Dawkins. He just tends to come in under, he's got a load of pseudonyms that most of us kind of know now. But
has she had a run-in with a Tangelo yet?
No, not yet. Neither one. But I kind of am taking a break from posting a lot on my own channel, so I don't have a lot of videos on there right now. I'm sure once I start posting again.
I've had Catholic Traditionalist in my chat before, and I've
seen that before too.
I told him to. He's like, and the funny thing about it was this. Before we go, I'll just tell this. I was doing those streams where I was reacting to like idiots on Twitter.
I remember.
I had the Christian apologist come in to demand to be let into the stream when we were doing a takedown of David Silverman's Twitter. I'm like, you do realise we're taking down an atheist here. We're doing it. We're taking a takedown of a prominent atheist activist who we actually personally think is a complete dickhead. So,
yeah, no, honestly, anybody that, when told, hey, this chick was, harassed, and then, you just yell penis at the screen repeatedly, harassing it like that. Not only that's cringe and it's juvenile and gross.
You and I know, Kitty. One of the two people in that clip I happen to get along with, but even I watched that and I was like,
what the?
Oh my!
Yeah, that's disgusting.
God, that was cringeworthy.
Yeah, because here's the thing: like, sexual harassment is not necessarily a crime. Like, the only thing required for sexual harassment is to make a lewd or lascivious comment to somebody and make them feel uncomfortable. Like, that's it.
It was the joke that Silverman made of it that I found cringeworthy.
That too.
And in that particular clip, it was he made and I'm like, David, in your position, I would not be making fucking jokes about sexual harassment, given some of the things people have said about
the
you.
allegations against
Now, whether those they're true or not, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that. But I wouldn't be if I were in that position that he is in, I wouldn't be making fucking jokes like that, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
And
like that's
anyway,
what I'm saying. Like, literally.
Anyway, sorry, I do have to close. But it was that was. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming, and thanks to Kitty, thanks Jake, thanks to Jen who was in here earlier. Thanks to everyone in the chat. I'm gonna call an end to this. Just under an hour, I think Purple's Rhymes of Orange is streaming. Go and check out Purple's stream. So see you guys later. Salute.
Bye.